the Rockets, who were supposed to wrap up their series and move on to the Lakers. Well, not so fast. Chris Paul finished with 28 points, including a game-tying three-pointer late in the fourth. Russell Westbrook followed that.
A lot of careless turnovers, including myself. Not just too many turnovers, especially in the playoff game, in the closeout game. Just give them too many opportunities. I think defensively we're doing a pretty good job with them only scoring 104 points, but we shot ourselves in the foot by turning basketball over and giving us less opportunities to score the basketball.
Joined now by former NBA champion, Fox NBA
club
analyst,
ready.
Tristan
Club ready.
All right, Tristan, is this series proof the Harden-Westbrook combo is a failure? Money.
No, not at all. I think the playoffs, people got to realize that the playoffs is a whole new season. That's how I like to take about the matchups. So obviously we know Russ missed 4 games with the quad injury and stuff, and that's a serious injury. So the first thing I'm wondering is he even healthy right now? But I know Russ loves the game so much, and he knows what's on the line. So I'm pretty sure he's not healthy, but that's still no excuse because, like you guys know as athletes, once you get between those 4 lines, there's no excuses. Either you're playing or you're not playing. So for them, I'm not surprised they went to a Game 7. I actually have OKC winning, but I think this series is going to go 7 games just because of matchups of 2 guard-heavy teams. So I think if the Rockets do lose, Daryl Morey's going to obviously, like every other GM, when the season's over, they got to reevaluate the roster and see what they can do better. But until that, time has come, they got to use what they got, and guys got to be ready to play.
Yeah, this is not proof that it's a failure. It takes time. One, you can't even use this series as the indicator. This is a 4 seed versus a 5 seed. Like, if you blink, they damn near the star power makes you emotionally react differently. But if you look at what they did in terms of body of work, a lot of people underestimated OKC, and now you're starting to see that you may have been in the wrong. Look at this from what you said, and I said it in the last block, how the playoffs are a different ball game. The playoffs, different complete season. And they're all black belts out there, just different degrees. And if you can't respect your opponent fully, maybe Houston, after that Game 5, reading the press clippings, realizing, this is going to be easy, looking forward to the Lakers series, which everyone anticipates and everyone expects. But Chris Paul had to go out there and show you why he is an MVP candidate, why he did go to OKC and make it happen with a young roster full of former Clipper greats. We got CP3 out there. We got my boy Gallinari out there. We got SGA. Like, everybody's out there. We got talented, and we expect to move on. But as we just talked about in the last block, you got to go out there and make it.
Both of y'all are being very unusually kind. Not unusual for you, Tristan, but for Marcellus, you got to make this make sense for me. This combo is proving to be a failure, but not just because of the series. We all have recency bias. Remember, they shipped Chris Paul off to OKC and left him for dead. Like, we didn't even think Chris Paul was going to stay in OKC. And just to make sure I wasn't tripping, last night, I do my work, I do my research. I read the articles after the trade between the Rockets and the Thunder. Who were the winners? It said James Harden was a winner. Daryl Morey was a winner. Mike D'Antoni was a winner. Russell Westbrook was a winner. Who are the losers? Chris Paul. That was literally it. The Thunder have overachieved. The Rockets have underachieved. But furthermore, Tristan, you got to help me out with this because you're the basketball expert. You should be the basketball savant. How dare we think that you can take a perennial scoring leader, ball-centric player in James Harden, combine him with another scoring champion, ball-centric player in Russell Westbrook, and be like, oh, you know what? We're going to take 2 wrongs, and surely this will make a right. Isn't just the indicator. I'm not going to sit here with recency bias and say, well, because the Thunder are overachieving, that this series is enough to say it. The combination was really a failure from the jump. This series is just a magnifying glass, which is showing the world, wait a second, this shouldn't even be going to 7.
I mean, listen, they've had success with each other in OKC, so they know how to play with each other. And obviously, it's no different than with D-Wade and Bron. People had those same questions. Can D-Wade and... Well, listen here, man. Those are 2 MVPs, so we're going to give them the respect, all right? Okay. No, but people had the same questions about the Heat with LeBron and D-Wade. People had their questions. Who's going to take the last shot? Who's going to have the ball with the game on the line? So I think for them, playoffs are all about matchups, so you never know. And I think for their situation, it's, they did have a lot of turnovers, so they have their reasons. But the reason why I thought OKC had the advantage is just because the complementary players I like a little bit more than Houston. Dennis Schroeder, SGA, who's my guy, the Canadians, my young fella right there. And then you got Steven Adams. I think all those guys are great pieces where if they all play well, it's going to be tough for Houston to beat. So I can't just say in this series, this determines whether Russ and James don't work. But also, first of all, if they played against Utah Jazz, Utah Jazz didn't want no smoke with the Rockets.
You can't say first of all 2 minutes into your combo now, Tristan. You should have led with.
Oh, listen here. That's 6 months at Texas. 6 months at Texas. That's what happens, you know.
Wait, Tristan, I got something. No, I got something because I'm confused. I'm confused. You're starting to confuse me, sir. You can't have a team that has 2 MVPs, NBA MVPs of the last 3 MVPs, and then now tell me that a team with your Canadian homeboy in the Thunder should be able to beat said team. I understand that basketball is a team sport. Now, it's truly lesser. You can't sit here and tell me that you're picking the Thunder to beat the Rockets, yet say that the combo of Harden and Westbrook isn't a failure.
Because about the matchups. Totally different conversation if they're playing, if Rockets are playing against Utah. It's all about matchups. Just because... because everything is, listen, it's 5-on-2. You're basically saying you got other guys. Like, you got PJ Tucker guarding Steven Adams. There's a mismatch right there. You got SGA and Daniel House. Okay, we're going to go SGA. Like, it's just, 2 guys, yes, they can carry you and win you a lot of games. But when it comes to the playoffs, your complementary guys got to step up. So, like, Daniel House, PJ. No, KCP at 14 and 16. We know those numbers. You saw those numbers right there. Dwight Howard, 11 and 8. 3 blocks. Come on now. Come on, now those numbers are all important. So the complimentary players got to step up.
Look, I'm not even going in the weeds with y'all. It ain't that damn deep. Look, you got to understand that there is a certain level of reverence you pay when you are introduced to another great on your roster. Everyone sits there from the outside and just thinks how we're going to add that talent with that talent and just get more talent, and it's just going to be easier. But there also is an integration, and it's a process. LeBron went through that in his first year. Now, they made it to the finals, but they didn't win the finals in part because they even speak on this of how to respect somebody, but not go so far as the reverence. We saw it in the last possessions of that game where, in typical order, James Harden should have the basketball. What was happening? Russell Westbrook was taking the ball. And you know what happens? When you can't just say alpha, beta, because it's 2 alphas, that becomes an interesting dynamic when you're going against a dog, as we just saw with Chris Paul. So I'm not saying it's a failure because in the initial stages, those are things that need to get worked out. But who knows? They go out there and win the next game, Game 7, and then they are past that hurdle. They are past
the Lakers.
And then they got the Lakers.
Good luck.
I mean, it's going to be a good luck if it's OKC or Houston.
You know what?
But that is something to put in your mind.
Y'all remember in high school, we'll go to high school, when your teacher would say, define a word using that word, right? Marcellus, define this without using this. You defining failure without using the word failure. I mean, that's exactly what you did when talking about these Rockets.
Failure?
You just said, well, they got Harden and they got Westbrook and they're trying to figure out how to combine them, as if we didn't see the Warriors bring Durant in, another superstar.
Oh, that's not this.
Two-time MVP.
That's not this.
Come on, don't you go there with that. That ain't the same thing.
It's not the same thing because Steve Kerr even just said it this week. Kevin Durant is the most talented basketball player I've ever seen, including Michael Jordan. You know what that meant to Steph?
Go ahead.
Steph said, he better than me, but I'm going to let this man go get it. Yes.
Tristan, let me get him. There's a difference.
They ain't the same.
There's a difference between being the most talented. He ain't say he was the best because Tristan played with the best.
But Steph said he was the best because he let KD take over that
James
team.
Harden might be the best scorer, but just because he's the best scorer, just because Russell Westbrook might be the most athletic, does not mean all of a sudden that those two best.
Until you prove my point.
No, I'm not.
What's going on? Harden looking at Westbrook like you ain't better than me, and I bet you Westbrook like,
yeah, I am. Which is a failure. You just saying they looking at each other with me.
What if they get past this round?
What ifs?
We're not there yet, so why are we condemning it? You did this. You already got a viral video of you condemning the Lakers after their Game 1 loss. You gonna do that again?
I'm not condemning.
You're not condemning. What are you doing?
Okay. A viral video still has salt.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, listen, Game 7 is going to determine everything. Yeah, you definitely switched up after Game 1. But yeah, we're going to let you slide with that, Archer. We're going to let you slide.
Yeah.
But no, like we said, this is Russ's, 3rd game back with the team. He's probably not, like you said, like Wally said, someone's got to be like, okay, we both MVPs. All right, who's going to be the top dog? You know, I still love you, respect you, still an MVP, but... Why can't they? If it's about
my point, Tristan, you and Marcellus are proving my point. The dissension, the fact of, remember what happened last night? What do we see? Okay, Russell Westbrook, he takes the ball down the court. Air balls. Okay, next time, James Harden, he takes the to draw a foul, complains he can't draw the foul, shoots the 3, misses. Okay, last possession, Russell Westbrook goes down the court, 12 seconds left, throws the ball away. Those two guys, y'all are proving the point that it's the combination. When Harden was on his own, he didn't have to figure out, okay, is Russ going to take it this time or is Harden? When Russ was on his own, he didn't have to decipher. Y'all are talking about 2 alpha males. That doesn't work in relationships. That doesn't work on the court. Y'all should know better.
Relationships? Really? Who closes out in a close-out game? That's the conversation they're having on the court right now. We saw it last night. We're going to see it in Game 7, and they're working through that process. Sorry, Acho, they can't work through the process.
2 MVPs still working through the